Alright, so this latest chapter of One Piece, despite the absence of Luffy, was very fascinating. There were a lot of details here that are very interesting, and there's a whole lot to cover. With the previous chapter, we had the announcement of Luffy's defeat at the hands of Kaido, a bit of information that caused a lot of dismay amidst the battlefield. You had Kaido's forces now being emboldened, whereas the general morale on the side of the Straw Hats and their allies was diminishing. Chopper in particular beginning to absolutely lose his mind. But just as he was being overwhelmed by the might of Queen, Sanji would intervene and reassure him that everything is going to be okay, as it always is. Luffy is able to do some miraculous things, and this time will be no different. From here, he would pass off the injured Zoro to Chopper, whereas he instead would now face Queen. Elsewhere, despite having just been bludgeoned by Kaido himself, Kinemon would continue to struggle for the sake of Momonosuke having an opportunity to properly flee. And in response to this, Kaido would then take a katana and jam it straight through the body of Kinemon to kill him. And now in the midst of fleeing and crying profusely, Momonosuke would then make his address to everyone, telling them that Luffy is alive. Furthermore, that Luffy said that they should all continue to fight so long as they can breathe. That no matter what, he was going to win. He was going to defeat Kaido. And just as Kaido began to converge on them and had them cornered, Shinobu would use her devil fruit powers to have them plummet downwards. And also down below in the water, Law's crew, the Heart Pirates, would hear the voice of Luffy calling out for them to help him, as he was somehow communicating to them with the voice of all things. From there, we have Nami, Usopp, and Otama, along with the revelation that Zeus has now come to possess Nami's Clima-Tact. Elsewhere, Law would join the battle alongside Kid in facing Big Mom. And lastly, we would have Yamato facing off against his father with a declaration that he is now here to take him down. And now, with this latest chapter, we would open up to Wano proper, wherein the Fire Festival was being observed. A jubilant celebration wherein, by way of a massive bonfire, they sought to honor their dead with fires so large that they could be seen from the heavens. And here Hitetsu was with Toko, and of course with her having lost her father, she was hoping that he could see the fire. And Hitetsu would respond that he is probably watching over them right now and trying to see what is going to become of this country. But getting back to the site of this ongoing battle, the somehow yet unnamed CP0 member, in speaking to Bao, would question the fact that Luffy's forces were continuing on even despite his loss. And now, taking into account the present intel, they would surmise the approximate number of forces to each side. And taking into account the pleasures and waiters who have now switched sides, that would now mean that Kaido's forces number 20,000, whereas the Straw Hats and their allies number 7,000. And perhaps they are still outnumbered, but that is certainly a jump from where they were previously, and it seems as though this trend is going to continue. This battle is not just about strength, it is about the convention of intel especially. When dealing with so many forces, information and knowledge is power. And now, with Shinobu and Momonosuke having plummeted downwards, they would be presumed dead, which would surely be a massive blow to the opposing forces, and so Bao was excited to break their spirits. But now, on the very same floor, we would have even more of Nami, Usopp, and Tama. And again, Nami's Clima-Tact was now possessed by Zeus, which was questionable considering he was just previously eaten. But he would go on to elaborate by saying that as his soul was about to be absorbed by Hera, Nami extended her Clima-Tact towards them. And so just before he was properly eaten, he was absorbed into her Clima-Tact. And so with that, Nami now possesses a sentient weapon, a designation sorta similar to Napoleon. And although Nami may not be willing to forgive him, it's not as if Zeus can leave without the power of Mama, so he's kinda stuck. And just as Bao was about to make her announcement in regards to the death of Momonosuke, or the presumed death that is, these guys would pull up on her, and in turn, Ulti would pull up on them and attack Usopp immediately. And at this point, Ulti is looking pretty rough. She has been beaten and battered by Big Mom, but from here she would grip onto Tama by the throat, convinced that it was all her fault that many other allies would be converted to the other side. And considering from her perspective this was even enough to get the better of Big Mom, she would consider Tama to be a threat of the highest regard. And now pissed, Nami would go onto the attack, but much to her surprise, Zeus would slam into ulti. And he would furthermore tell Nami that she can do as she normally would, he is just here to help, which is to say that he is going to further augment all of her attacks to be far more lethal and dangerous. And listen, being the once readily used homie of Big Mom, Zeus knows what he's talking about. Zeus has combat experience out the wazoo, and so he was able to surmise that ulti, although very tough on the outside, had to be messed up internally terribly on account of Big Mom's attacks. And so one definitive strike, one thunderbolt, would be enough to take her out. But because Otama was right there, she would be caught in the crossfires, and so doing so would be nigh impossible. But that's when Usopp, now grounded, would intervene and manage to split the two up. And without a moment's hesitation, Nami would now charge up an attack that, much to her surprise again, was far more powerful than she had ever imagined. As emerging from her climax, she would see the visage of Zeus and call out to him, but he would retort by saying that that is no longer his name and that he needs a new one, in which she would provide him the name of Cotton. And with this, an incredibly large thunderbolt would be slammed down into the ground, but just barely miss Ulti, who is incredibly fast despite being so heavily damaged. But despite Nami's disappointment, it was not over there, as Cotton would curve and hit straight into Ulti. And goodness gracious, what a massive, what a sizable power up this is for Nami as a character. I mean guys, if this sort of augmentation is to be expected for each and every one of Nami's attacks, we are sort of looking at a pseudo Big Mom, which is just nuts. And sure, Nami herself lacks the durability and all the other abilities of Big Mom, but in the sense of this being a major power up for her, this is undeniable. But yeah, Ulti is done, she is out. And Bao, in her astonishment, would accidentally convey this information to everyone, as suddenly the entirety of Kaido's forces were suddenly shook. And now, having taken out Bao, they would continue to convey their own message by way of Tama. And this is sure to be a major play, considering she is the master of many pieces at play here in this battle. But before having this message conveyed, we would have the standoff between Yamato and Kaido. As just as always, Kaido would refuse Yamato's departure. He would mention how Luffy and Momonosuke have already been taken out, but Yamato would pay no credence to this, as he in turn would say that he is going to sail the seas with Luffy and get rid of Kaido, get him out of Wano, which is such a crazy proclamation. Yamato intends to be the next Straw Hat, and I am living for it. And from here, Kaido would transition from his dragon form into the one that he faced Luffy with, now saying that he's not going to settle for anywhere else, that the reason he is in Wano is because this place is special, which I can only imagine ties into the notion of Joy Boy's fated return, and by extension the greatest prospect for him claiming the One Piece as his own. Kaido would furthermore tell his son that he has no chance of victory here and that he should just submit and agree to become the country's next shogun. And Yamato would not only refuse this, but counter by saying that he's not going to be the one to take out Kaido, that the one to take out Kaido is going to be Mugiwara Luffy. That Luffy is the one that Oden has been waiting for, and that he is just here to hold him off until then. And would you believe it, when these two clash, it is a clash of conquerors hockey. Guys, I don't care about a break next week. Yamato is apparently going to be, or has the potential of being, our next Straw Hat. Not only that, but he also has Conqueror's Haki. This is a convergence of Conqueror's Haki users, the likes of which we have not seen since Marineford. The hype to be had with this Wano arc is absurd, it is nonsensical, and I am loving each and every chapter of it. Please, if you are feeling the hype, if you are feeling the excitement right now, let us know down in the comments below. And while you are at it, go ahead and subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on, because we are going to be here for each and every bit of it. And before I pop a blood vessel in my head, go ahead and follow us at Plot Armor YT over on Instagram and Twitter to keep up to date with all the latest and greatest anime and manga news, memes, informations, and even giveaways. Because when it comes to bringing you some of the best One Piece content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I am Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.